Hey guys, this is Oliver from Tech Life. Today we're going to be looking at the iPega PG-9028 Bluetooth gaming pad from an Android's perspective. In this video, I'll be showing you how to attach the phone to the iPega controller, how to pair it via Bluetooth to your smartphone, some of the functionalities of the iPega with your Android phone, and end this video with a bit on gaming and what games work and what games don't work on this controller. To pair your controller to your Android smartphone, you need to press the button X and then Home at the same time until the lights keeps blinking, just like you can see in the video. After that, you need to go into Settings, Bluetooth, find the PG-9028 and click on it to pair. Every time you pair, your phone automatically changes to the default keyboard which came with your phone, in my case the Samsung QWERTY. This can be quite annoying if you use a SwiftKey or another keyboard, as every time you play a game or use the controller, you're going to have to be coming in the settings and changing your keyboard into what you like again. As soon as you paired, the controller is working. The A button is used to select and the B button is to go back. You can use the sticks, the D-pad or the touchpad to navigate around. When you touch the touchpad, the mouse appears and you can click on things by tapping on icons. In the camera, you can use the Gamepad as a remote shutter by selecting record video or take picture and pressing A, or if your cell phone enables it, you can use the volume up and down on the media players to take pictures, as you can see here. Android phones come in all shapes and sizes. I would say that thinner phones with a flat edge usually will be better in this holder, but I would imagine the majority of phones would fit. I noticed that on the Note, it's much easier to start with the top part and then in, as you can see here. But with the Galaxy S3, I have noticed it's easier to start with the bottom and then push the thing over the phone. Once your phone is on, it will be a bit top heavy, so it's better to play with the controller in a vertical position. Most Android phones don't support landscape mode in the home screen, so I find myself often changing the controller to this position, as you can see, and I must say it's quite comfortable as long as I don't use any of the buttons such as the D-pad or the sticks, as that becomes quite confusing. Okay guys, let's go to the part all of you are probably waiting for, which is gaming with this controller. The way I see it, this controller can be used in two ways. You can be an experienced Android user with a rooted phone, in which case everything is configurable and you can get the gamepad to do exactly what you want to do in any game you would like. Unfortunately, that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you might need to set each game individually, which is not ideal. The second way of using this is the way I will be using this and the way I'll further explain the rest of this video, and that is by just installing different applications and seeing how well they work. You can configure a few configurations that might make it better or worse, but in general, you are completely at the hands of the developers and how much support for gamepads they added into the application. Let's start with some of the games that really work and work really great. The first one I'll show is the Wind Up Night, as you can see in the video. All the controls work and the gaming is really great with the controller. Unfortunately, the touchpad doesn't really work, which isn't much of an issue since the touchpad could only be used in the menus anyway. Playing this game with physical controls is absolutely great compared to the touchscreen. Unfortunately, I've noticed that in this game specifically, sometimes when you press A it doesn't react, as you can see here. Luckily that doesn't happen very often, and most of the time it works perfectly, and it really does make it much easier and much more enjoyable to play this game. EOS Fortune is one of the most best optimized games for this controller, I have noticed. The graphics in this game are incredible, and being able to play without blocking the screen makes the experience so much better. You can also use all buttons and the touchpad, and everything works perfectly. And when you do play the game, all the instructions are optimized for the controller. So as you can see now, when you start the tutorial of how to play the game, instead of being swiping, you have the D-pad image. And using the D-pad is really responsive and really fast, so that's great. You can also use the stick, although that is much less precise, and I wouldn't recommend playing this specific game using the sticks. If you haven't played this game yet, I would highly recommend buying it or trying it on the Play Store, especially if you do buy this controller, as it makes it such a better experience. For you guys that know this game, check out my score in the race event on the first bonus level of the first world. As you can see, the controller makes your movements much more precise, make it much easier to move fast and efficiently, getting the best possible score. As you can see here with the controller, I managed to get 2.78 laps, and that wasn't even my best. Another great game to play with a controller is beach buggy racing, as you can see. You can use the stick here, and the control is quite precise, and it's very fun to play. It reminds me a lot of Mario Kart with all the power-ups and upgrades. Unfortunately, this game is one of those that you can spend a lot of money just buying coins or extra add-ons for the game. The graphics are really good and all controls work perfectly, so I would still recommend trying it out. Meltdown is another game that works absolutely brilliantly with this controller. The graphics are really great and the gameplay is incredible, with many advanced features such as shielding yourself behind objects, and you play it a little bit like Spartan Assault, Halo. And I would definitely recommend playing this game, which is for free with add-ons. Another great use for this controller is the use of emulators and ROMs, because once you get the controller working in one emulator, you have hundreds of games to play, and it just feels so great to play old classics such as Mega Man X or Super Mario World and so on your phone using this controller. Personally, I have tried the SNES emulator and also the Nintendo 64 emulator, and both worked perfectly and all the controls were working great. Now let's look at some of the games that work less well or don't work at all with this controller. So now we're going to be looking at Grand Theft Auto 3. In this game, the controls are working and the game is playable, but unfortunately my complaint is that there's no way of changing the controls, and compared to playing this game on a console, the controls are very unintuitive, as when you press the trigger button, instead of accelerating the car, you end up just rotating the screen. That is not a huge issue, but it just shows that without a rooted phone, you won't be able to customize this. In Modern Combat 4 Zero Hour, the issues are even worse, because although the majority of the controls work, they're still unintuitive, and the worst is that the aiming cannot be done with a stick. So when you play, you can move around, you can shoot, but you just cannot aim, which is really frustrating, and I don't understand why this is happening. I have seen this game being played on other cell phones and it was working, so as you can see, it's not always reliable. In this case, the game is completely unplayable with the controller, and no matter what kind of settings I change, I never manage to make it work. In Sonic, nothing works at all, not even in the menu, and once you start driving, the only buttons that work is acceleration and turn to the right, which deems the game completely unplayable. So to conclude this video, just the fact that you can play games on emulators and a few really good games from the Play Store directly make this controller a great investment and a great way to game while you're on the go. This is a great controller with great hardware, which is let down by software that isn't optimized for it. But I imagine as more and more games come out on the App Store and more games are optimized for controllers, it will only become a better experience. So this is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you like the video. And in the next video, I'll be showing you how to download and find games that are compatible with this controller. So subscribe if you're interested in that. If you have any suggestions or any comments about my videos, please just leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, guys.